That's fantastic. Well, another thing that I love, and you've brought it up again, is I think what's missing in our country and our culture is personal responsibility. I mean, there's a huge vacancy there. And your plan about a health savings, I'm in awe of it, as I am of you, sir. Thank you.
And the other thing I should say about the health savings accounts, the way that we have proposed, it gives people flexibility within their family. So let's say you were $500 short for a radiological procedure. It could come out of your wife's health savings account, with her permission, of course, or your son or your grandfather or anybody within your family. It makes every family their own insurance company with no middleman. Gives you enormous flexibility. So you're going to be able to take care of almost every problem that arises. The few things that happen that are really much more major or catastrophic in nature, that'll be taken care of by your major medical or catastrophic insurance, the cost of which will be considerably less since all those other things aren't coming out of it. It's like a homeowner's insurance with a high deductible.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, when you start talking about simple solutions like that, and I think that's what Russ is saying, that we all get excited when we hear you talk because you're logical, you're polite, you're quiet, you don't call people names just to put your point across, and that's so important. And I bet Erica's got one more follow-up. I can see it. Hang on.
I do. Our country was founded on faith, just how you said, and also the American dream. And so often I find that we are so caught up on being politically correct, and I feel like that's made us a softer nation. I would like for you to just highlight on the fact of political correctness and what you think my generation prior and previous, what we can do to make us not seem so soft as a nation.
Well, your generation in particular has to understand that youth is no excuse for ignorance. And you go back and you look at people like Nathan Hale. He was a teenage spy for America, a rebel. When he was caught and ready to be executed, he says, "My only regret is I have but one life to give for my nation." Think about that versus what most young people think about today. And the fact that so many are ignorant of history makes them very easy fodder for those who wish to manipulate. And they come in and they say, "Oh, well, look at what's going on, you know, and these people are racist, and these people are sexist, and these people are this and that." And of course, if you don't have any base of knowledge, then you just say, yeah, I'm mad about that. Yeah, exactly. And those manipulators take advantage of that. And I want our young people to recognize that they're smart. You know, they got these big frontal lobes and the ability to analyze just like those rabble-rousers do. And at the very least, they should be asking, pertinent questions.
I agree completely. Thank you.
You've touched on another that you started with, education. I love history, and I think that's what makes my belief in this country so strong. History, if you don't know it, you're doomed to repeat it.
Oh, without question. And, when you look at American history, it is replete with inspirational stories. But when you look at the rewriting of it, for instance, if you were to look at the AP course in American history right now, you would be horrified. They spend most of the time talking about how awful America is, how we treated slaves and American Indians, and bombed the Japanese. And they barely 2 sentences about George Washington, very little, if anything, about Martin Luther King. And some of the great things that happened, they don't talk about that at all. Somebody could come out of one of those courses saying, "Wow, America's really horrible. I think I'll go fight for ISIS." I mean, really, I'm serious after you got through with that. And, we need to expose a lot of this stuff. Parents need to get much more involved and know what kind of curriculum is being taught. We need to make demands. And people, most importantly, and my wife and I just finished a manuscript called One Vote. People need to vote intelligently. And I'm not just talking about the presidential election. I'm talking about school boards and local county officials and things like that. You need to know who these people are and what they're advocating. Because if you don't, you get what you deserve.